Don't be silly.
Hi, this is my series called Vinny G's. This is the intro, and this is going to be the intro for all of the episodes. You want to skip forward if you can. I'm going to try to keep it short.
Children, wake up, it's snowing, and we have to get dressed and go downstairs and have breakfast, and then say what Father Christmas has brought us.
Where's William?
Oh, well, Merry Christmas to everyone out there. Yes, it is me, your host, St. Vincent. No, not Annie Clark, that band. No. It's Vinny G. No, I mean, it's Vinny Claus. And tonight is Christmas. Excuse me, I don't want to try not to eat my beard here. Anyway, yes, it's Christmas, everyone. And we have some wonderful stories. 2 stories for you tonight. Yes, one of them, not the whole story, just part of a story, but the other one will be a whole story by itself, even though it's part of a film for this series, The Last Looks. Did I mention it's The Last Looks? I mean, Last Looks. Anyway, enough of that. Here we have our book. So let's start and listen to our stories as I tell them to you. Yes, we have 2 wonderful stories, as I mentioned. The first one from an old film young Vinny G saw when he was a boy on TV. And it's only part of the story, just bits and pieces, like my little bubble. Anyway, just bits and pieces of the story beginning. So it's up to you to finish the story. Story number 1. In our book, Vinny G's An Old-Fashioned Christmas. Yes, so let's now take a look at the first story. And let's see how it goes. Oh, yes. Once upon a time, there was a young boy named Oliver Twist, or a character created by none other than Charles Dickens. And this young orphan boy had many adventures, and a movie was made out of it, a musical, in fact. Well, of course, everyone knows I'm not a fan of musicals, but I do like good movies, and if a musical is a movie that is good, made well, I'm in. Therefore, a musical called Oliver was made, and this movie was really well done, had great acting by Oliver Reed and a young boy named Mark Lester. And Mark Lester
is the star of this movie that we're going to talk about, because you wonder, why are you talking about Oliver, the movie musical? No, that's not the movie we're doing. But I do want to say that it's kind of a setup in a way of this movie. I'm back to normal now. I started off kind of weird. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of a setup to this movie, because this movie also has Mark Lester playing another orphan, and it's a few years later after the original, so he's little in the original Oliver movie, but in this one he's taller. Excuse me. No, it's not COVID, but anyway. So he's a little taller in this movie, and he looks the same though, basically facially and everything. And so in this movie, which is called Whoever Slew Auntie Roo, this one has Shelley Winters also in it. And this is kind of a Christmas horror movie, again, made in like the late 70s, somewhere in probably mid 70s. And there was a lot of these types of movies that were being made. A lot of them, I think they were called like hag horrors, HAG horror. Meaning that it started with Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, with Bette Davis and Joan Crawford, where they're two older, they used to be child actors in like the 20s, 30s, and then they got older and couldn't get parts, but one of them's loopy and, going cuckoo, trying to regress back to when she was a kid, and the other one's a cripple, and it's good. So anyway, this movie is an offshoot of that, because there was a whole other one. What's the Matter with Helen was another one. I think that had Debbie Reynolds, and there was one with Olivia de Havilland. So there was a series of these types of movies where they were like old women that were tormenting people, sisters, siblings, other people. So this was sort of one of the last ones of it. But it's a Christmas movie. It takes place during Christmas in an orphanage, of course. So we get to see that Oliver Twist character sort of in a different setting, in a more horror setting, but it is Christmas. Shelley Winters does a good job, and was known later in like the 70s for being overweight and playing sort of these whiny old chubby lady types, but that's not really what she started off being. She was very beautiful and very slim when she started in the business. So this kind of takes that a little bit of biography, and it's like, you were once beautiful and popular, and now you're this. And she runs this orphan asylum or place. I don't know, not asylum, maybe. I don't know what they're called, really. Orphanage. How about that? So she runs this place, and she's got a cadre of people around her, the butler, the maid, and there's one of those secrets that is hidden, which is given. We're going to get to see a glimpse of that. We're not going to watch the full 20-minute intro, because with the titles and some of the setup, it takes a while. So I kind of chop things up a little bit to tighten it a little. But we'll watch pretty much the first reel, and then, some more after that. But this is the last look, so don't worry about being at the first reel. I'm just mixing things up again with this show. So it's kind of a longish clip, and so I want to get to it now. This is, again, Whoever Slew Auntie Roo, and think about Hansel and Gretel as well. And there's some other things I'll point out. We got the intro.
Come all ye fair and tender maids, who flourish in your prime. Beware, keep your garden fair. Let no man steal your time. Let no man steal your time.
Christopher and Katie. That's fun.
Do you realise that Christopher and Katie haven't addressed a single word to any member of the staff since they ran away on a broadband? Not even to complain about the food.
Ooh.
He's an inveterate liar. He invents fantasies about witches and giants.
Yeah, in this movie he plays kind of a, I don't want to say a punk, but he's definitely kind of obnoxious a little bit.
Right,
not in a really mean way, but just this undercurrent of like a, well, he's distrustful of everybody. Wow, did you see that? Ooh, that was a good neck cut.
Clara Grange, there's more than enough of everything, right? Now, tell me, what are your names?
What are your names? No. All right, just give it to him.
This is my sister Katie.
There you go.
And I'm Christopher Coombs.
Oh.
How do you do?
How do you do?
And thank you for allowing us to stay.
What lovely manners. Oh, you're going to have to catch up with the other children.
So again, this was a movie that the TV horror hosts. What can I tell you? The 70s was great for that. I probably saw it with Grimsley again, the LA guy. But so then the evil camera turned off on my face, and that ended my talking about the clip. But I did let it run for a little longer, so you got to see a bit more than what I was talking about with you. But it's good to shut up sometimes for me. Anyway, I got to say that was a weird movie. And yeah, check the link below. You'll get to see that online. Probably in pieces, I think, is the one that I found. But they're all there, so just let them run one after the other. And we'll get back now. Well, how do we say adios to this segment? Well, let's just end this by saying, watch the whole movie and on to the next story. The end of one story. Merry Christmas.
Oh, ho, ho. Oh, ho, ho. What a story that started off to be. I didn't finish it, damn it, but hey, it started as a story, all right? You can finish it yourself when you click the link below. But anyway, hey, don't fret, folks. We have another story for you. Yes. Oh, oh, oh. It's time for a little imbibing. Let's see how much I can get on my beard. Oh no. Not too much. Anyway, here comes story number 2. Yes, in Vinnie G's old-time Christmas. I mean, old-fashioned Christmas. I just read it right now again. Oh. But let's now begin story number 2. And story number 2 is most scary indeed. Yes, this one, you get to see the whole thing right before your eyes. Ow! Right before your eyes. So now, without any further ado, let's begin. Story number 2.
Once upon a time... No, that's the wrong accent. 3, 2, 1. So, once upon a time, there was a story or a series of stories called Tales from the Crypt. And Tales from the Crypt was one of the greatest anthologies of a comic book series. Now, I guess there's no such thing as a comic book. They're graphic novels, but in any case, this story involves Tales from the Crypt, created by Mad Magazine creator William Gaines. And this was before Mad Magazine, though. It was almost testing of the audience of this type of pulp fiction, if you will, graphic novel comic book. And what it was an anthology, which means it was many stories in one comic book, you know, probably at least 3, 4, 5, with sometimes mini stories in between, like a one-pager, and of course a lot of advertising where you get the X-ray glasses or the giant Frankenstein that's 6 foot tall. But in any case, these comic books sold in the 50s, got controversial with the government. Of course, lewd, lascivious, horrible, gross, obscene. Mostly because it involved a lot of stories about people getting killed and chopped up or coming from the grave or whatever, just horror thriller stuff. But they freaked out about it. So they tried to censor them, and then eventually, I don't even know the outcome, to be honest with you. I haven't got caught up with that. But William Gaines did create Mad Magazine after this, and so that was more of a lighthearted, I guess, version of what was Tales from the Crypt and the Vault of Horror. There were different comics in the same series. Vault of Horror, The Haunt of Fear, I think, was one that nobody's done that title. When are they going to take that one up, man? The Haunt of Fear, that's a good one. But anyway, Robot. Here we have our story. An early movie from the 70s with Joan Collins in the first story. This was a 5-story anthology. And when HBO redid Tales from the Crypt for their channel back in I think it was late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in there, probably mostly the crossover 90s. Some shows are hard to tally where they fall. But this one was remade, this Christmas story. This was the first story in the show, or in the movie, and actually in the show that was redone. It's a Christmas story, and that's why I bring it to you on this festive occasion. So now I want to explain that this story, I believe, the original of this movie is better than the remake. The remake was more updated, and it was actually directed by Richard Donner, who did the Superman movie from the 70s, the original, Christopher Reeve one, and a lot of Twilight Zones. He did a lot of TV work, and this was, one of his movies that he did, or segment of a movie. I think he co-produced the HBO redo, but here we have the original with Joan Collins, and strangely enough, by coincidence, I didn't even plan this, Sir Ralph Richardson, who was in the other story, playing the seance guy, the old man seance ripoff guy, he's in this as the Crypt Keeper. And then not Joan Collins, but her daughter in the segment is the little girl from the other movie, the Oliver Twist, whoever slew Auntie Roo, the little Katie, don't fall off the rails. That little girl is in this. So it's kind of funny. I'm going to show you the whole segment because it's barely like 8 minutes long. And it's so good. I really think it's better than the Richard Donner one. I mean, that one's, of course, more updated and, just slicker, I guess. But this one is so raw. And again, Tales from the Crypt, The Vault of Horror, these were two British movies that adapted the comic books, and they were not really critically acclaimed at the time. I think a lot of people thought they were too dry, not as outrageous maybe as the comics were. But I think it works because it focuses more on the storyline and not the hysterics of the people acting or whatever. So let me click it now and let's watch the first segment of Tales from the Crypt, 1970s. This is the Christmas story.
Well, which way shall we go? Roads and tough stuff.
So here I set up with a little bit of the Crypt Keeper. What happens is the setup, because these movies always have a setup, is that these people are on a tour in some caves and caverns, and then they get lost. And all of them, all sort of stick together as a lost group. And then, of course, what it ultimately means at the end is it's the wraparound story. It's the story that, in other words, this movie has five stories in it. And then this is where each story reconnects, it's the wraparound. So, and it kind of is its own story too, but you don't have to worry about that. So this first segment is going to have Joan Collins, who was an actress from Dynasty in the 70s. Still around too. Still, I think she's still spewing gossip out. But here we go. Here's where we meet Sir Ralph Richardson.
Well, there's no way out of here. Let's go back.
Of course.
There's no way out there.
The old trope, you're trapped. There he is. He's the seance guy from...
All in good time. Look, how do we get out of here? All in good time.
Seance guy. The drunk... he was a drunk guy in the other movie, right?
I really can't wait.
Probably was in real life. I don't know. I don't want to disparage him.
Hold on, Joe.
All right, let's do this. I gotta plug my headphones in.
Sit down. I assure you I have a purpose.
What purpose?
Why did you come in here?
I don't know, I was just driving by.
Here we go. Our first story.
And what are your plans when you leave here?
How about I lower him? Yeah, your plans. Where do you think you're going after this? Here we go. Christmas time is here. Again, the 70s, such a great period of weird Art Deco kind of look, I just think it's strange because I lived through this kind of deco, houses and rooms and places look like this for real, in real life. But when you see it like this, it looks like a set, like a phony thing. This was made at the 70s, in the 70s, excuse me.
To Joanne, the best wife in the world. Love from Richard. And a big kiss.
The husband. He must be rich. He's oldish looking. Business suit. Let's have a merry old drink. Beer time. Yeah, this really... Ouch. There she is.
Merry Christmas.
This scene stuck with me when I was a kid, because I think this came out in, I want to say 71, 72. I wasn't even 10 years old yet, and so it was kind of shocking for a kid, you know. And this wonderful Christmas music playing. Oh, shit.
Mommy!
So there's like the will, and there she is. Oh, man. It's great, too, how everything's white, right, on the floor, and like the worst color to have blood on is white. Oh, God. And look at her. She's cleaning up. Put it in the... Oh, she should have put it in the fire. That would have really burned it out.
I'm coming, Carol.
Well, she thought of that. Mommy. Look at the outfit, too. It's like Catwoman. Batgirl. I don't know. That was the 70s, man.
Oh, darling, what's the matter? Has Santa come yet? No, darling, can I see him when he comes?
There's the little girl from the other movie.
Santa won't come. What's this? Just a Christmas card from Daddy. Right? Good night, Mummy. Night, Daddy.
Oh, night, Daddy. Laying there. I love how this movie is just, or how this segment. This is only a small segment. I gotta shut up and just watch it. What a mess, huh? And it's, of course, it's on the carpet. Damn. And this is... Oh, man.
A man described as a homicidal maniac has escaped from the hospital for the criminally insane. He is 6'3" tall, 210 pounds, dark eyes, bald, and may be wearing a Santa Claus costume taken from a shop in Burley. All residents of the county are warned to be on the lookout for this man and to phone the police if they see him. We now continue our program of carols for Christmas Eve.
Well, there you go. That's the setup. And I love, the great thing about this segment is how the music just plays over and over. Uh-oh, uh-oh. This is scary, man. Whew. I'm tense. She still hasn't got him out of the way yet. Oh my God. This is very much... Whoa. Whew. This is very much like Asylum, remember? That one from the earlier shows. The guy that chopped up his wife and put her in the freezer. Yeah, this is that same vibe, man. That got me. Oh, man. Wow. Uh-oh. That's great. Wow. He's heavier than she anticipated. Uh-oh. Huh. Wow. Well, that was the idea. He fell and broke his head. So that'll explain the smack on top of the head that she just gave him. Now the cleanup is, and this is like paint, right? The red. But I think they had to do it this way just so it wouldn't be so, like it wouldn't be X-rated or, you know, we can't do it. So they had to look like paint. But it is like a comic book, to be honest with you. So that's what it's based on. Anyway, you get the idea. Can you imagine? More burning. Ooh. This is like Macbeth washing the bloody hands. Here's the big finish. It's a good one. It's a good one. Uh-oh. Oh, great. Crazy phone. Oh, there you go. Oh, well, that's an interesting story you have, young lady. Well, we'll stop there. So there you have it. Tales from the Crypt's Christmas story. really wild, really always creeped me out when I was a kid watching it. I saw it, I think, in a theater or drive-in, or maybe both. And then always on cable. It never hardly came out on regular TV. But every time it did come out, when I saw it, I looked for it. I have a book, too, of it, I think, the movie that we just saw a segment from. And so, again, this was a good one for Christmas. And it's the better one than I think is the remake that Richard Donner did. But, you know, it's up to anybody's judgment. I'm sure some of you have probably seen the Tales from the Crypt HBO series. And some of those are really good. So here, I will now go back to Santa and say, that's the end of this tale. And Merry Christmas to all. And to all, a good life.
Ho, 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 ho. Ho, ho. Well, kids, oops. That's the end of our story. 2 stories for our Christmas episode. Oh, ho, ho. Oh, Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, and I must say, I do hope you click on the links below to watch the full movie of Auntie Roo and the full movie of Tales from the Crypt and the full movie. No, that was it. Oh, well. And I want to say, please have a Merry, Merry Christmas. Thank you for watching. And I hope you all got all the wonderful presents that you wanted. And if you didn't, well, the most important thing is that you wished to give the best present of all, and that is love. Love, love, love. Ba-bum, ba-bum.
All you need is love.
Oh. Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a safe, happy holiday. Enjoy your presents, and I'll see you next time. Ho, ho, ho.
I don't know how many takes I had to do with this. Give me a drink. Oh, man.